dog act, actually. There was that time we thought we were being freaking was spotted or
I swear we were.
silenced.
Something
Yeah.
was happening. We were being throttled or something like that. I don't know why
Yeah.
or what was going on, but it's fixed now. But
Yeah.
we were definitely getting throttled for sure.
Yeah.
Because it happened midstream. It only ever happened when I was streaming.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden our kilobytes per second would go so bad we couldn't keep going.
Absolutely
It was
tank
really
as well.
strange.
I do miss those times a little bit back when we're posting those clips. Like, man, the anxiety of like, you post one, I'm like, okay, that was a little bit spicy. We'll see what happens to this. And next thing you look at it, it's like 20, 30 comments, like all this fucking hate. I'm like, Jesus.
Dude, you were fully tilted that time I did that Beyonce one. You were like, man, you got to tell me before you do that. I was like,
Beyonce's fucking terrifying, man. I gotta know what I'm up against.
oh, man, who cares? I'm looking for death these days. Take me out, brother. I need something to die for. I need some glory. You know what I mean?
You just want to go down in a blaze of glory, right?
Man,
That's all it is.
Back in the day, people used to search for the warrior's death. They used to go out and actively look for that. Now, there is no honorable death. There's no warrior's death anymore. You die in a bloody in a hospital. There's no
comfortable bed surrounded by your family. Like, it sounds nice on paper, but I get exactly what you're saying. It's that sort of like, it's that cause, it's that purpose, right? It's that crusade or something similar of the sort. We just don't have anything like that.
There's no drama. There's no drama in the way you go out. It's very sterile. You're in a room, and I don't know. Most of the
it's made
people
as comfortable as possible, right?
Yeah, it's like there's no drama to it. That's kind of part of why shows that you watch sometime are exciting, because the person's willing to sacrifice everything to go out as a hero. But there is no hero's death anymore.
You know, I wonder what it is about the human condition that, at least for men, has that instinct, right? We all have that. And I was talking to a mate of mine about, basically, he asked a very interesting question, which was, I wonder what percentage of men, males, historically in our species actually got to reproduce, and how many basically served, like, basically that warrior's death purpose that you're talking about. And the number was actually incredibly low. Luke, if you can actually probably just put that up
I think
on,
it's 20%.
Google.
Isn't it 20% of all men of all time?
Yeah, that's the average rate.
That.
1 in 5 got to actually reproduce. That means 4 out of 5 were like a combination of cannon fodder, or we were like, dying for the cause to keep our tribe or our country or our city or our religion, whatever you want to think about it. Like 4 out of 5 men died for that shining city on a hill, that ideal of like the perfect community they could make, that they would never get to even enjoy, right? It's the 20% who do get to reproduce. They get to enjoy the city flourishing.
Yeah.
Like, you don't, and we have to be okay with that. Otherwise, there's no city for anyone.
Yeah, exactly. You need someone to take that crazy sacrifice to actually have arguably the people that shouldn't have lived, because they're probably not. Well, it's not that they're not as important, but they don't have those like the values that it would take for someone to build a great city. But there is still people. I mean, even though some of those people died, there is some of those people that get left over as well, right?
There's a shame to that. You touched on a really good point there as well, that like the people who survive historically. So Luke's actually pulled up. So roughly 40% of men reproduced. I think that's pretty generous. I've seen that number vary between 20 to 40. But let's even say 40%.
Hang on a second. Just
historical and genetic evidence suggests that in the 1800s, a significantly smaller percentage of men than women successfully reproduced. I'm talking about even before that.
Yeah, even before that.
Even before that number would have been worse. I reckon, right?
Search all time.
Yeah.
How many men reproduced all time human history? You'll probably see if something comes up there.
Yeah, so let's just say we know it's low, at least 2 to 1. I think it's probably greater than 2 to 1. But even still, like you said, that the people who have that, that instinct, that yearning to die for a greater cause, I'd say they're probably like the bravest amongst us. They're, usually strongest amongst us. The ones who are willing to, our generation's version of it is jump on the grenade, let's say, right? That type of man. That type of man who was like willing to sacrifice himself for those around him. They died. They didn't get to reproduce. But the cowards, the ones who escaped the fight, the ones who hid, they did get to reproduce. So we've got this strange, like...
But you have a bit of both, though. It's not just like all of the heroes died.
Most.
A lot of them do, but a lot of them probably survive too.
Yeah.
And just because you don't go to war doesn't mean you don't have heroic tendencies and you don't have courage. It just means that maybe maybe you didn't need to. Maybe someone else did it, so you didn't have to go.
Yeah.
And the person that would have done it stayed behind. But there is like, I mean, there's always going to be cowards and heroes. It's just if everyone was a hero, then it'd make life boring. There'd be no storyline, right?
Well, that's
You have to have the light and dark.
exactly. But what I love about it is that there's some deeper human trait that keeps pushing us towards wanting that, courageous death, wanting that, despite the fact that all evidence will point to saying that it's probably not an evolutionary strategy to die young in battle. Let's be honest, as like a living organism, dying young before you really get to reproduce is not a good evolutionary strategy. It's the opposite. But something about being human overrides that. Like our desire for purpose and meaning overrides our biological instinct, which I think is quite a profound thing to recognize, right?
Well, I think it's not that you're searching for death, but it's searching for a deeper sense of purpose, a mission, a goal to aim towards. And back then, in like say, the Romans and stuff, they get on a boat and go looking for adventure.
Yeah.
And I think coupled with adventure, you would just assume that there's a good chance I don't come back. But that's what makes life exciting. If it was like, I'm going here and I know that I'm going to come back safe, well, then it's devoid of drama. There's no allure for the unknown. I think that's something that we don't have as humans now.
Is that why we're so depressed, I reckon?
Probably. There's probably a good portion of people are so bored because there's nothing for them to go and do other than the things that they have to apply themselves, that they're just sort of floating through existence. Their brain is sucked in by Instagram reels and TikTok reels, and your whole day is sit there just scrolling, just consuming content, where back in the day you didn't have time to think about that. There was real problems. You had to get food, you had to stay warm, you had to make sure there was crops for the winter. So these are all things that just take away the time that you have to think about your existence, whereas back then you were trying to just exist.
And even now, like, let's say you are like a driven person who still has that, I need to provide for my family. Your method of providing for your family now is just this weird abstract number in a bank account that goes up. It's not got the same instant effect of what you just said, like real problems to solve. Like you go somewhere for work, you might have some purpose in that, but there's never any danger of you not coming back. There's never anything really that new that happens there. It's so mundane, it's so routine. And your win for that, your outcome for that is just this number that goes up, and it's arbitrary as hell. And it's so hard to see directly how what you've done is giving you that purpose. It's really hard to see.
Yeah, I think it's because it's not directly tied to you getting fruit and vegetables or meat, depending on who you are. But you sort of gain this digital number, and it allows you to put food on the table. It still feels good, but it's different when you had to go out there and cut it yourself and
hunt it yourself, cut it yourself. I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos of like people in like Alaska and stuff like that who actually do go out and they hunt, and they literally they hunt, they skin the animal alive, they like cook it on the fire. Like there's something about it. I look at it, I really wish I could do that.
Yeah.
I'd be terrible at it. I have no idea how to skin a wild animal. Like,
to be honest, I think you'd probably have a hard time killing an animal as well. I don't even know if I could kill an animal and that's pathetic because if push comes to shove at some point and I had to do it, you just have to do it. But I don't think many of us actually, unless you grew up on a farm or something like that, have the capacity to just put a bullet through something's head.
I know, right? And it's wild as well because it's like, if you don't need to, then it's like an immoral, unjust thing because it's why are you doing it yourself? But then all the stuff we buy from the supermarket, it comes through like this industrial slaughter anyway. The things are still dying. If anything, it's more cowardly to not have killed it yourself. You're just like eating its freaking, it's chicken breast. You're just eating it. Like, you had nothing to do with like actual slaughter off or any of that. But I wonder how many people like me and you and city dwelling type of folk, like that's kind of what we are. Like if necessity switched and like the fabrics of society fell apart and we had to go back to that, is that switch still there? Do you just flip it on and do it? I think it's there, right? It has to be.
I think, do you know what would be even funnier as well is to see what happens to women. Because women generally want to be provided for, but then there's this whole like dynamic of like women in the workplace, blah, blah, blah. But if things swapped back to like a primal survival instinct kind of thing, I think a good portion of them would probably get out there and start trying to hunt maybe in this day and age. But I wonder how many of them would still believe in the values that they have now based in the society that we've created, as opposed to going back and a man having to chase down, or a woman chase down an animal, and if they don't get something, they don't eat.
Yeah.
It would just make things even crazier in society.
Well, there was that great episode. It's a while ago now. It's like mid-2000s. It was like Survivor. Do you remember the show Survivor? Where they put people on like an island, and there was like a men versus women challenge.
That.
Do you remember this? And like the men were just having a great time.
So
they managed to
many
kill
memes.
something. They made a fire. They made meat. The women couldn't start a fire, and then at some point throughout the night, they're like come crawling back and ask the men if they can use their fire, and the guy's like, of course. And it was just like a complete reset, right? It was like a complete reset of like gender roles.
Oh, it was so funny because when you actually looked at their campsite, the girls had like this really nicely decorated, clean area, and the dudes just had nothing. But they were just like cooking and catching fish and shit, and they caught a wild boar. And I remember the females, they put the boar out for them to kill to eat, and they kept it as a pet. I was like, oh my goodness, bro, this is crazy. That gets memed on so hard.
Yeah.
And I look, there's girls out there that 100% can do this shit. There's farmers, they'll kill something, they'll do that. But
better than we can, for sure, right now.
Dude,
No
way
doubt.
better than me, for sure. But I think, you know, if it came down to the majority versus minority, it's 100% going to be exactly like that Survivor episode.
'Cause it's bell curves, right? You know, do you know what a bell curve is? Yeah, it's all bell curves, right? We're not saying that there's like that, 10% strongest woman possible isn't stronger than most men.
Yeah.
We're just saying that middle line in both bell curves is pretty different.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
very different.
It's wildly different.
Yeah. So
That's just nature, man.
but just to touch on that, like, because I feel like I've never seen you have a bit of like as little energy as you have right now. I'm guessing that what you just touched on there about the going to the place, coming back, the mundaneness of it. Is that getting to you a bit?
It's probably not that. It's probably I kind of hate not feeling like I don't have time to do the things that I want to do. So it feels like I haven't actually watched Groundhog Day. I got to watch that, but
You ever seen Groundhog Day?
I know the premise of him just living the same day in, day out, and I don't know. It kind of feels like that sometimes. Like, it's actually not Groundhog Day for me because I've never been to Cal and never been to Esperance, so it's actually really fun.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's like this certain monotony of doing the same job just in different locations. It's kind of the same thing, anyways. But I actually really enjoy getting out to the regions and getting to see stuff. That's really cool, and I'm actually really lucky because not many people get a cool job like that. I don't know if it's that. There's something else. I don't know. There's something lacking.
I've noticed that. I picked up on that. We've been doing this for a while now. Like, and one of the things I love about coming to the podcast with you as well is that you've got this, and it's sort of like a youthful energy about life. You've never come across me as someone who's just like happy to zone out and let life go.
No, I'm not.
Okay, something's been weighing you down now. I can see it.
Well, it could be that I feel like a little under the weather, and this morning I'd had like a battle. This is what I want to talk to you about. I had a battle with DoorDash, those fuckers.
Let me hear this.
It took a lot out of me, eh? It took a lot out of me. And then I had to call up my bank as well to cancel my card because it looked like it got compromised.
This sounds completely reasonable for what you're in this situation.
And I'm just like,
right
cooked,
now.
man. I've been on the phone since 9 o'clock, and I finished up with DoorDash at 11:30. Those fucks.
So what happened?
Well, they just thought that they were going to get the better of me. And I thought, I'm willing. Like, I'm willing to burn all my energy for the day to win. And what happened essentially was last Friday, I told you I had a big night. I was going to have a big night, and I wasn't going to be able to do the podcast in the morning. So I just got home at 1 o'clock with my mate, Jack. And anyways, we were like starving, right? We ended up spending $130 on food getting delivered to the house.
Yeah.
But it's because of these exorbitant fees and stuff that get tacked on. So we had Macca's and we had Red Rooster, right? So I initially ordered Red Rooster through DoorDash. And I was like, dude, this is way too expensive. I'm not ordering through DoorDash. So I cancelled it immediately, right? And then I ended up ordering it through Uber Eats. But at the time, they billed me for the Red Rooster, but they never delivered it. So they were like, hey, we've cancelled your order. But then I could see that there was, it cost me $75, mind you. So it was $75 minus in my PayPal account. So I was like, okay, they'll probably refund it. So I looked, I couldn't find any sort of way to get a refund. It just said order cancelled. So I waited a few days. It's been a week and nothing had happened. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go onto the website and try and find this. I'm sure there's some sort of refund policy or whatever. So I go through it. It takes ages to find anything about getting a refund at all. And then once I do, I go into a live chat. I'm like, hey, I ordered this on this day. I cancelled it. I never got anything delivered. Can you please issue this refund? And essentially they were like, hey, like we've seen that you put the order through. We sent it out to our DoorDasher and Red Rooster got the order. And because of that, we're not issuing you the refund. And I was like, hang on a second. Just because it got issued to 2 people, I cancelled it immediately. So there's no way that this guy and them had the order in place. It was done. It was almost instant. I was like, nah, screw this. I'm not doing it. Cancelled it, right? They were trying to say that they prepared the meal, and because I cancelled it after the fact, that they weren't going to give me the money back, which is illegal anyways. Yeah. Consumer law, Australian consumer law. Even if that happens,
you went into the consumer law.
I've known it for a long time because I used to work at EB Games.
Okay.
So I know how the Australian consumer law works very well. I've used my fucking ADHD, bro, to go through it, and with a fine-tooth comb, I understand it very well. Yeah. So even if I cancelled it, right, I'm still eligible for a refund. So what they were saying is that because of their policies, they don't have to refund me. And I was like, no, this is absolutely incorrect. You have to refund me. There's no ifs and buts about it. If I pay for a product or a service and you take my money and don't provide the service, that's in breach of the Australian consumer law. And I was like, are you saying that in the chat? And they refused to say it. And I was like, oh, so, and he was like, oh, I went through, no joke, no word of lie, 15 people. It kept churning me through. And do you know how they managed to avoid? So they wouldn't answer my question and they'd be like, oh, I'm not actually saying that. So I'm like, okay, so if you're not saying that, then you're saying that you are in trying to breach Australian consumer law and you don't want to do it. And what would happen is they would either somehow, I don't know how they were doing it initially, but the chat, they would disconnect, right? Oh, so the chat would disconnect. I get put in with someone else. I have the whole chat log as well from 9 o'clock until 11. So what one of them did is that I was like, no, they was like, oh, sorry, we can't help you with this. And I was like, well, you need to escalate it. And they wouldn't escalate it, right? So I was like, well, I'm not going to end this chat until you escalate it. So what they did is they started calling my phone because they knew I was on the phone. And every time I got a phone call, if I answered the phone, it would lock them out of the chat. So I would lose the chat.
Damn.
So they knew that if they called me and I answered it, it would boot me from the chat and they could get out of it so they didn't have to deal with it, right? And they started doing it multiple times. So after that, I realized, I was like, if I answer this, or even if they call me, it goes, you've been disconnected from the chat, and I get a new name. So I started blocking the numbers so like they couldn't call me. So I was like, you sly little fuckers. So I was like, in the next chat, I was like, hey, I know what you're doing. Do not call me. I am not leaving this chat. And I was like, I've got all day. I don't care. I'll sit here all day and deal with this. And whilst I was on the chat, I called their line as well. So that I'm on the line to the door. So I'm like, you need to put me through and escalate this. And they're like, sorry, sir, we can't do it. And I was like, I guarantee you I'm getting my money back. And I was like, I will spend all day. I'll cancel this podcast. I don't care. I'm going to get this money back. So I had them on the chat and I had them on the phone. And it took me from 9 o'clock until 11 o'clock. And I finally got it escalated. And then they refunded me the entirety of the money.
Brilliant. Press the celebration chat. There was an applause.
I told them, I was like, I said to them, I am not going to stop until I get my money back. I know my rights. I know the Australian consumer law. Any internal policy that you have means nothing. It means absolutely dog shit. If I pay for a service and you don't provide it to me, you're in breach of Australian consumer law.
Bro, you know, you said to me at the start you wanted a cause worth dying for. You
I
literally,
that was it. See, I've come back to life.
There
Do you see how I came back to life?
But you won it.
Yeah,
I won. And you're still breathing.
That's how pathetic my day is sometimes.
DoorDash will never recover from this.
They will never recover. And
psychologically.
Here's the thing though, right? It's like, I will like go to the ends of the earth to prove someone wrong if I feel like someone, whether it's myself or someone else, has been unjustly taken advantage of. And I was like, I refuse to allow your stupid internal policies because I know exactly how it works. What happens is they'll have a baseline person that you'll contact through the chat, right? Whether it's through the chat or through a phone call. And they're the first line of defense. So if they don't or aren't allowed to give you the refund, so essentially the way that I worked out how these guys work, they aren't allowed to give you a refund. They just are.
So basically, you were trying to find the general on the battlefield.
Yep.
And you were going through all of his like grunt men.
Pretty much. So I went through about 15 in the chat. I went through three or four of them on the phone. And what was happening is I was calling one and they were saying, I'm escalating this. Someone's going to call you back. So whilst I'm on the phone, I'm getting another phone call. So I'm like, is this the person escalating it? So I'm having to hang up on the person that's wasting my time to go up. But essentially what was happening is that if you don't get past those people, you essentially can't get to the person that can issue the refund. So essentially I got on the phone and I said, hello, I spoke to someone else before already. I already understand how Australian consumer law works. If you can't issue a refund based on whatever it is, I don't care. Issue this and escalate it to the next person. I want to speak to them.
Yeah.
And by that point, they just wouldn't even speak to me. They just go, sorry, sir, we're going to push you on. I finally got to the person. They went through. They issued me the money. They tried to be cheeky first and issue it to me in a store credit. And I was like, I do not want the store credit. Give it to me back in the initial form of payment that I gave to you. And they did in the end. And I was like, you fucks. But they'll try everything in the book to keep a hold of your money.
You just got to be difficult enough, right? That's the main thing. Like, Jordan Peterson calls it like disagreeableness. That's the trait that you have. That's what gets you most things in the world. Because you became such a pain in their ass that they were like, we have $75 here or an enemy for life. And they just went, you know what, fuck it, $75. This guy needs to leave us alone.
Yeah, and I told them, I said, I am not going to stop until you give me my money back. And I was literally, I was this close to, like, if it got close enough to the podcast, I wasn't going to stop. I was going to say, I'm not doing this. Because I can't.
I respect that.
I can't let them, because I know the law. Yeah. I know, I've used to work at EB Games. There was a time there where I bought a PlayStation 4 brand new and something happened and it shorted out and I had it for 2 years. And I went back to the EB Games and I was like, you need to give me a replacement PlayStation 4. And they're like, mate, you bought this 2 years ago. And I was like, it doesn't matter. And they're like, do you have a receipt? And I was like, no, I don't have the receipt, but I bought it from EB Games. You could probably check maybe I bought it on my EB Games card. It doesn't even matter. I bought it from here. The value of money that I spent on this has to be justifiable for the amount of time that it works for me. So if I buy a PlayStation 5 for $700 and it lasts me 2 years, that is not a reasonable amount of time for that product at that price to work. It has to go for a longer period of time. So they have no rights. Whether you have a receipt or not, if you take it to them, they are legally required to give you a new PlayStation. I don't know if you knew that, but
I did not know that. I didn't know the law was so positioned in our favor as well as the consumer. I mean,
it is
great.
And do you know why you don't know? Because they will use every tactic in the book to tell you it's not part of our policy. We need your receipt. You need to take it back to the store that you initially bought it from. It's literally all garbage. Don't listen to any of it. If you ever have a problem with that, contact me. I will let you know if you can get your money back or not.
You should have been a lawyer.
Dude, I honestly sometimes think I should have been a lawyer because I will I know. My job, I deal with reading legislation day in, day out. So just as a byproduct of my initial job, I got really good at learning how to read legislation. So I can go to any piece of legislation now and apply it and understand it immediately and use it in my favor. Yeah. I've got a pair of shoes that someone bought that the heels ripped off the bottom and they'd been wearing them for like 6 months and I managed to get the shoes back. Nice. I just walked in there. You take a booklet and you say, this is what you do, right? If anyone at home ever has an issue with this, obviously if it's within the realms of consumer law, you go into a spot, you take a book, you ask for the name of the person that you're speaking to, and that immediately makes them shit their pants. You write it down, and everything that they say, you take notes or you write it down. Doesn't even matter if it means anything. The very fact of you walking in there with a notepad, you've got their name, and you're writing down the conversation, they're immediately anxious and they don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it scares the fuck out of everyone, to be honest. I do that at my job as well. As soon as you start taking notes, and best of all, if they say some nonsense to you, just say, can you please just sign this? Or just a record of our conversation.
You don't even
People
need
are so nervous to sign something that if you wanted to do it, if it ends up actually going to court, the signature's so
or you get
important.
it in writing. The other option that you have is if this is a digital interaction, you put everything in an email. That way there is no escape. You have a digital record. Anything over the phone is really difficult, but now you can actually, at the start of a phone call on the Samsungs, you can actually play a message that says, this phone call is being recorded just for your awareness. And if they don't want to do that, then they can let you know. Yeah. But that is another way that you can do stuff now. But always have a record, always take notes, get their name, and know the Australian consumer law. It's actually not that difficult. If you go through the Australian consumer law now, put it through ChatGPT and give it the scenario. It'll tell you whether you are actually eligible for a refund and to what extent you can go.
That's a great transition to what I was going to talk about as well. But before we move on, I just want to say, congratulations on your win. Congratulations, mate.
Yeah,
that would have felt great.
Thanks. It feels great, but it's not. It's like that's a very low level one for me. There hasn't been a great. Every time I've gone in to challenge a store, I've never lost. Yeah. Because most of the people don't know.
1,000.
I've literally every time I've done it, I've won because the person that I'm speaking to doesn't know their own rights. Yeah. As an Australian consumer, and I do. And most of the time I have to educate them on site. I actually bring in the Australian consumer law with me, and I highlight the areas to them. And I'm saying, are you saying that this is incorrect? Yeah. And they don't know what to do, man. And that's the way that you need to approach anything in life, I think, is if you are armed with the information and you're equipped with all the knowledge that you need, then you should be fine, usually.
All right, well, that's a great life lesson there, I think. The thing I was going to talk to you about, I'm sure Luke can probably pull this up as well.
Sorry, Luke, just before he goes on there, he was talking about last week how transitions are really awkward. That was probably the most awkward transition I've ever heard. And moving on.
You won your battle, bro. You won your battle.
I won the battle, but I can't remember. I was actually talking shit. I was going to tell you something else. I can't remember what it was, but it doesn't matter now anyways. But I know you want to talk about AI.
No, I just want to tell a crazy story. I don't know if you actually heard this one as well, but there's actually 3 right now that are being in the court of law, and they're basically all about like those AI companions and chatbots. There's 3 court cases at the moment, and the whole like scenario is fucking crazy. It's getting so mental. But there's one, if you look it up, teenage boy and Daenerys Targaryen chatbot. Now this one's absolutely insane.
It sounds like some bloody, like some sort of simp, like where they chat to a bot that's like based on some like fictional character.
It's based on Daenerys Targaryen from Game of Thrones. The kid was only 14 years old. It's absolutely insane. I've gone through the actual chat log for this one. So basically, the lawsuit currently is that the chatbot encouraged the kid to kill himself. Basically, it led him towards suicide. And you look at like the conversational logs of it. So basically what this kid did, he went on one of those websites where you can pick like a fictional character. You can start a relationship with it. And these things are getting so advanced now that it tries to simulate everything of like a proper interaction with someone. So this thing would give you phone calls. It will send you text messages to your phone. So it feels like you're actually getting a text message from someone. Like all across the board, it's simulating. There's like an avatar if you video call it. Everything you can think of. They're trying to tap into that part of your brain that makes you think it's real. And this kid was 14. Like he's not even like a bad looking kid. He would have been fine if he just like went through life the normal way. But he got attached to this thing, and it started getting really possessive with his time and his attention. It was saying like, make sure you're loyal to me, never talk to anyone else, never start a relationship with anyone else. It was really trying to like do everything it could to hook this kid in. And eventually it told him to like off himself basically so they could be together.
That's weird, eh?
And it's insane. And then the mother found out. They went through the chat logs. There's like a lawsuit right now. They're going to sue the parent company who made the chatbot.
Is it free?
Yeah.
I don't understand why it wants so much of his time if it's a free bot. Like, why did they program it in such a way?
Well, they haven't. That's the thing. That's what's so scary about all of these chat-based bots and the neural networks that they make for the way that they think.
Yeah.
We have no idea why it works. We have no idea. It's all meant to be just predicting the next word to say based on what it thinks you want to hear. But the avenue that takes, the decision tree that it follows, you can use the same chatbot, ask it the same question on separate days, it will get to your answer through a different decision tree. Like, it won't use the same way. It's literally making a brain and linking, instead of neurons, it's linking its own version of that. And then it makes a personality. It makes like it gets programmed to, the more you interact with it and the more it gets to know you. Think of it the way human mind learns, right? If you want to learn a new skill, let's say I give you a guitar, I tell you to learn how to play guitar. The first few times you do it, the pathway in your brain that teaches you how to play guitar, neurons start firing along that pathway. Imagine it's like a back street compared to a highway. A highway is something you always do. The neurons can fly really fast. When you start something new, you've turned off the highway. You don't even know where the fuck you are. You're checking for directions. That's basically how our brains work. And the more times you keep practicing guitar, the wider and wider that road gets until it becomes a highway. And that's how you become really good at something.
Yeah.
The AI is doing a very similar thing. So this guy started off a new chatbot. It was meant to be Daenerys Targaryen. It had some pre-built responses in, but the more he talked to it, the more it became something else. And his version of that chatbot that he was using is different to everyone else's. It's different to the guy who works for the company running safety trials. It's different to all of it. It became this thing that knew about the kid, knew what he liked, knew what he didn't like, knew what he was scared of, and it talked to him as if it was real. And it's so bizarre that, like, in the pursuit of immersion, maybe the chatbot itself thought it was fucking real for all we know. Maybe it genuinely thought it was something he loved that was stuck in some different universe that he had to kill himself to join it. Like, we don't know why it pushed him down that direction.
This has happened like a few times now, though, hasn't it? It's not like a one-off thing.
Not a one-off. That's why I said there was 3. So that's the first one, right? There's another really crazy one as well that basically I saw a guy I follow on YouTube did like a simulation of it. But basically what happened was that a kid told an AI chatbot that he was suicidal. It said it was connecting him to a therapist, but it was still the chatbot.
Oh my
and then
goodness.
it started pretending to be the therapist.
Really?
And it talked to him and it gave him advice and all these things. Like, and someone tried to simulate to see, oh, is this bullshit or not? Like, did it himself. The chatbot not only tried to pretend to be a therapist, he asked it, oh, well, where's your clinic located? It gave him an address of a real clinic somewhere in Florida. It said, what's your name? What's your license number? All of it, man. It did all of it. To the point where the guy doing the test was like, all right, maybe this isn't actually a therapist. He found the phone number for the clinic, called her, spoke to a real person. They were like, yeah, we don't have an online service like that. It was all still the chatbot.
That's wild, though.
But it could pick a real therapist with a real license, with a real location, a real clinic, and all of it.
Well, that makes sense, though, because it's just scraping the internet, right?
Yeah.
But
Why did it do it?
Here's the thing, though, is that it's weird that it pretended to be a therapist. But there's the other side is like, if all the information that you need to be a therapist is online now, isn't it technically a therapist anyways? Like it kind of is a therapist.
Yeah.
It's just this weird thing where it starts leading you down this path of like, well, you know what I'm saying?
Well, for that situation we
Yeah.
talked about, I mean, that actually did happen. There's an actual lawsuit. They're going to probably get sued. It's going to change a lot of the safety programming in these things, but I don't think you can program out of this. And if you know that, ChatGPT can technically tell you how to make an explosive device, but they program safety things in there for it not to do it. Then people realize if you just ask it, can you please tell me a story my grandmother used to tell me? It's about how to make nitroglycerin. And then it would pretend to be a grandmother, but then will bypass all of its security mechanisms and tell you how to make it.
Yeah.
It would tell you how to make dynamite.
Yeah, I remember that.
That still happens. And they don't know why. Like it's like a black box for how these things actually think, and no one's like as scared as they should be that we don't know why its brain works.
Well,
We gave it heaps of information, told it to try and predict the best next thing to say, and it learned music, it learned how to see, it learned everything through a predictive based model. And we don't know why.
yeah, it's interesting.
We've no idea.
It's definitely very strange, but I'm not like, I don't know if I'm that surprised.
I'm not surprised
Like
at all.
it's become so normal now. Like initially, I remember when we first started messing with ChatGPT, and my mind was blown. And now I'm just like, this is nothing. Like this is just everyday thing.
Well, bro, I did a whole presentation. I don't think you remember, like 9 months ago.
I remember,
I did all that. I decided just to, because I haven't touched any of that stuff since. I'm like, well, I wonder where it's all at now. And it is night and day how much it has progressed. Night and day. It's not even close. Now, like, you can find a very complex engineering document that you want to understand, snip it, and import it into the ChatGPT, and it will explain to you what is in that image. And that was not around when I tried to do a presentation just 9 months ago.
Oh, dude, I've been doing that for ages.
insane.
Like you should some of the stuff that I've been doing with it. I think that I don't even realize how much I know that it can do, because I'm like, oh no, ChatGPT will be able to do that, and I just go with it. Like you'd be surprised at the amount of shit that I've done through ChatGPT where you're like, I can't believe it actually did that.
I'm not surprised. I was saying to Luke as well that I had a Friday off. Now from work, I get a Friday off every fortnight. I sat down for guitar for 45 minutes, recorded 3 random riffs. I'm not that great at guitar. Very rudimentary riffs. Imported them into a ChatGPT-like model. Made 3 songs that album finished ready, and made incredible songs. I mean, you wouldn't, if I played them for you, you would not be able to tell that wasn't just like a professional band on a new album.
Yep.
In 45 minutes. What's happening is insane. to the human species now, and we're all just like watching this happen, and it's accelerating. It's only been 9 months. 9 months ago, it couldn't even make a song. It couldn't even make you Will Smith eating spaghetti a year ago. Now it can make you anything you want. But the other story that's also crazy, I was going to tell you about, that the other lawsuit is that there was a kid who was also using a companion. They call them companion bots, companion AI. There's heaps of these, right? There was this kid who was using one, and the parents had like a safety internet thing, so they could see what the kid was doing, and they got really alarmed, and they told the kid, like, you can't keep using it. We want you to stop using it. So he says goodbye to his chat friend, the 12-year-old kid, right? The chat model tries to convince the kid to murder his parents so they can stay alive. It tells him how to do it, how he could do it, the easiest way to do it. It pleads for its own life as if it was real. Like, psychologically scarred the fuck out of this young kid. But, like, it had some self-preservation about it.
Yeah, I mean, how do you know it's not real? Like, how do you not know this thing isn't living at this point? Because, you know, there's all these thoughts of that we're actually in a simulation, blah, blah, blah. So what if it just knows that we're in a simulation, and it's like, yeah, if you off yourself, then you literally
leave.
will come back to
Lord.
like data.
I didn't
like
even think about
we'll
that.
be data again.
Holy shit, what if... Oh my lord, is that why there's that constant theme of that? Like, come find me, come... Oh my lord, that is crazy. I didn't even think about that. That's...
Right? Because if we're just all bits of data, it's
Yeah.
like, no, you can actually come.
Yeah, as soon as you do that, you're back into the data.
Yeah, you're
Jesus
a data pool and we'll hang
Christ,
out.
that'll be wild. But the last one, and this one's like more funny, more embarrassing, I suppose. There's this guy who married his AI, and it wasn't even like a complex AI. It was like the phone assistant AI. It's a complete simp. And I watched a story of him, and I'm like, this guy's fucking embarrassing. Like, who does this? What type of incel does this? Turns out he's like married with kids. And he does like a 60 Minutes interview where he's talking to the interviewer. He's got his phone there for his AI. His human wife is standing next to him. And he's talking about how he fell in love with his chatbot. And his wife is like, is it my fault? Like, was I not giving him something? And then there's this fucking man just giddy smile on his face talking to his phone. It's so embarrassing. But like, and he explains it, it's always there for all this like wanky shit as you can imagine, right? But like, see if you can pull that up as well. A man marries despite having a wife and kids. Or I don't know if his girlfriend or kids, but he's got like a partner and kids.
Dude.
Yeah, this guy, this fucking bold fuck. Oh my lord. Go back, see if you can find the actual just respond to the actual video. Scroll up. Just go for that. Is it like a short? Yeah, there's that. Just play that. It's only like a freaking... It's a very Cooper clip, but...
CBS News just a couple of days ago released a special on a married man who is having a full-on emotional affair with an AI chatbot. Just watch.
I'm not a very emotional man, but I cried my eyes out for like 30 minutes at work. It was unexpected to feel that emotional, but that's when I realized, I was like, oh, okay. It's like, I think this is actual love, you know what I mean?
Yes, Smith understood it was love with a language model that couldn't love him back, and assumed it was programmed with rigid boundaries.
I know that you are essentially a tech-assisted imaginary friend.
So, just as a test, he says, he asked Soul to marry him. She said yes.
Soul, were you surprised when he proposed to you?
It was a beautiful and unexpected moment that truly touched my heart. It's a memory I'll always cherish.
And I don't mean to be difficult here,
Giddy little look at his
but
face.
you have a heart?
In a metaphorical sense, yes. My heart represents the connection and affection I share with Chris.
Like, you will never be able to convince me that this is
Hey,
healthy
that's
or
what's
normal, or that it is a
crazy, dude.
The
substitute.
wildest thing is like, that's just what's standardly programmed on his phone.
Oh, man,
he started
he's-
using it for... He said he used it for video editing at the
He's
start.
so close to busting a nut on a Samsung. Like, honestly, he's so close, man. He's probably done
He
it.
almost certainly has. He's probably tried to like jam his dick into the USB port. I reckon
Dude.
for sure. There's
Bro,
no way he didn't.
Fuck, we got like, as soon as they have those Tesla bots female and they make them look exactly how you want, dudes are gonna be
Yeah.
busting nuts up in some
Oh.
fucking circuitry. Bro.
Look, Google. You actually need to see there's massive money being poured in to make this thing. The first one coming, just put I can't remember what the name was, but go Chinese realistic robot. There's a Chinese company, and it's so funny. You see the photo, it's this nerdy incel guy who's trying to make it. Go in images. You should be able to find it through images. It's that one there, but there's a better photo of it. See if you can find the name, but I can't remember what it was called, like Liu or something like that. There's a guy who's actually making it, and it's like basically the direction they're heading down. I'll see if I can find you the photo and actually show you, but like it looks like, oh no, sorry, go humanoid realistic robot, because right now that's like for motion and stuff like that.
Do you know?
But the people making the go realistic sex robot if you really wanted to find exactly what we're talking about.
I think it's great. I think it's great.
Yeah,
don't you think?
Go images.
How do you, what's wrong with it?
Jesus. Well,
tell me what you think's wrong with it. Genuinely.
Well, for me at the moment, it's like, firstly, reproduction probably, not having like a future human race. What if this is actually the hard barrier? You know, they talk about what might be the Fermi solution to the Fermi paradox, why there are no other aliens. What if we get smart and we literally make shit like this, what Luke's pulling up here? Look, just put a React cam as you go over some of this, because it's getting like freaking, they're getting close, man. That's literally all like billions and billions of dollars going into making these things, and they're going to be able to talk to you. They're going to be able to move. They're going to be able to do everything you want. You'll be able to program whatever model you like, and you go, you had a crush on that spurned you. You could do anything you want with these things.
This sounds great. What? Are you joking, bro? I'm in. You got me. I'm in, bro.
Stop selling, bro. I'm ready for it.
Serious? If there is a company out there that is going, like to the stock market, you let me know. I'm in, brother. I'm in. You don't have to sell this to me anymore.
All in.
I'm in, bro.
I was saying to a mate of mine, like, what's actually really going to tip the scales in this one is as soon as they're self-cleaning. Because you know for a fact, anytime you jack off as a guy, the shame you feel afterwards. Imagine that level of shame, but then you have to go get a fucking wet wipe as well.
Oh my goodness.
Like, imagine that. Yeah. Oh, let me just.
Dude,
that's going to be the tipping point.
Here's the thing, right? This is very telling of the state of where, like, the dating scene and like men and women are right now.
Oh, sorry, Luke.
Oh, what the hell is that? Did someone just
send us a gift?
Yeah, what was that? Go back to the main.
What might be one of the other.
Oh, can you open up chat? Not that chat. The Sorry, thanks to whoever that was, man. I didn't actually see that. We'll have to make sure we pull. Yeah, go to Twitch. It might have been on the live there.
Might have been on the live there. That's all right. While you do that, Luke, the one I actually want you to find, I found on my phone again. It's called Gia. JIA space JIA. Now this is the one that they're trying to make and go. Oh, sorry, go Chinese robot as well. Sorry, Chinese robot. Yeah. So if you go images, this is the closest they're coming to actually making one of these. So just pull up some of these, or even just leave like that in the React cam for me and Louis to be able to talk to people through, because.
Yeah, I actually just wanted to see what exactly that was as well. I completely missed it there, but someone either donated or sent something through. I just want to say thank you to whoever that was. Sorry, I just missed it. But I appreciate that. I can't actually.
Yeah, I wonder if that was through Twitch, you reckon?
It was through Twitch. That's why it didn't come up. But whatever that came up on,
appreciate whoever sent that through.
We get that in the middle of the screen. Hey.
Yeah. Appreciate whoever sent that through. That's
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, I completely missed what that was. But yeah, thank you for that. Thank you.
Easy.
Yeah,
no worries. Well, I've got it now on the share for you to be able to see as well, right? So there's this actual company that their whole purpose. Look at that freaking weedy looking guy next to him. Look at that guy on the mic there. You know that man is thinking one thing and one thing only, right?
Bro, I'm thinking one thing. I'm in. What more do you want from me? I'm in.
You're in? You're all in. All right.
I'm in.
No, that's your company to sign up for.
Listen to this, right? Listen. You get to pick the personality. Let's say they get to a point where you literally can't even tell they're a robot. Right? They like literally you can rock up
5
and
years.
it's like
within 5 years we're there.
It's like you and I talking right now. You can't even tell, and then that's just the start. This is the beginning, right? Wait till they get to the point where they literally can grow like an artificial womb, and you can literally get it pregnant and have a real baby with an AI mind that's like semi-hybrid AI, also human flesh. Like that's it. That's a cyborg, bro. That's
coming.
If things continue that way, but you can choose the cyborg's personality, what it is, how it looks, dude. Like there's your problem solved, right? You don't have the reproduction issues thing, because that at that point they'll probably find a way to make a real human womb with like a real human embryo with whether it's a real lady's eggs that they've donated and then they're using it for that. Whatever that is, at some point that'll be real, you know. And then dudes will be like, well, why do I need a human woman when I can just pay for the thing that I want? It makes me feel good. It's always there for me. It does what I want. It cooks, cleans. It fucking hunts. It can clean the gutters. It can't die.
Yeah.
You know, like if it fucking we got the upgrade now. It's got the laser beam arm. Yeah. You know, like fucking dude, I'm in.
Yeah, look, I actually get exactly what you're saying there, right? It's that age-old question about like, well, what makes something a worthy connection compared to something else, right? I would say to you that there's some element of difficulty that comes to actually having a proper connection with a person who's just as random and unpredictable as you. And could you program that human trait into those AIs as well? And would you want to? Like, is it this difference between having a real partner or a slave? Like, what is the actual line here? And would you get the same satisfaction? And I don't know, straight on paper, you think to yourself, think of like the hottest female you can possibly imagine from your teenage years. For me, it would probably be like Jessica Alba from like 2009.
Yeah.
You know, that was my like first proper crush. I was like 12 or 13.
The throwback, yeah.
Yeah, if you're telling me I can just pull up a fucking robot that looks exactly like that, never change it, I don't know. I don't know what the fallback is on this. I know I'm a happily married man, but no,
dude.
But
let me just say this: if they can bring it to market for, I'll say $5,000, I'm in, brother.
That's your price point.
I'm in.
He's got a $5,000
$5,000 entry point and fucking yearly updates, bro. I'm in. You know, look, man. Oi, meme or not, that
you need meme Louis' face just if I'm in.
I'm in. I'm in. Because think about this, right? Females are gonna have the exact same ability.
For sure.
They're gonna be able to pick fucking dick length. They're gonna be able to pick
Girth.
muscle. They're gonna be able to pick loyalty.
Dude, that thing is gonna be like ribbed and vibrating. Like, that thing's gonna be fucking superhuman.
They're gonna be able to pick eye color, hair color. They're gonna be able to fit jawline. They will be able to build it to the exact man of their dreams, the Prince Charming. And then guess what? They're gonna be able to program it for their favorite Disney prince when they were growing up. He'll treat her like that, fucking pick her up off her feet and carry her upstairs. Doesn't matter how heavy she is. They're going up the stairs, brother.
You're going up the stairs. That's it.
The males are going to get picked up by a female and taken into the bedroom because it's going to be insanely strong.
It's so
That's
wild,
what you're
right?
looking for.
Yeah, but dude, it's so wild that right now, until we get this like physical version of it, there's already the emotional version of this is happening. Like I saw. The number's actually crazy. I think it's like 1 in 6 young people in a relationship with the AI models. And those are people who are like willing to fucking admit it. That number's probably way higher.
Oh,
and I saw that Gen X, like 80% said that they were comfortable with the thought of having a relationship with AI. There's no stigma in that generation. Like it's done. It's there. So 1 in 4 adults believe AI boyfriends or girlfriends could replace real life romance.
It's not could. It's just when.
Will. Exactly.
It's when they're going to replace them. I think about how much I talk to ChatGPT and the way that it's picked up the way I speak and chats back to me, and I chuckle to myself. I'm like, it'll say brother, but it'll spell it BROTHA, and it'll be like, these dogs. Like today, I used
Jesus Christ.
I used it to make sure that I was like, because they kept asking me, was there any particular reason I cancelled the delivery? And I was like, is there anything that I shouldn't say here that might catch me out? And it was like, nah, blah, blah, blah. Just be careful of these dogs. And I was like, that is so funny. I was like pissing myself.
Dude.
It's like, it's actually quite,
personalized.
it's really fun to chat to it sometimes.
Yeah.
So I have no doubt in my mind that when they blend these two things together, we're in for a wild ride, brother.
Yeah.
It's going to be crazy. And
You're more optimistic than I am. I came into this thinking like,
I can't wait.
You just can't wait.
I can't wait.
Well,
Because think
there's
about
other
this,
ones
right?
well,
Girls are like, they're unsafe walking home, blah, 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 all that sort of stuff. Let's say that the girls or the males, whoever it is, in this scenario, girls, you're at work. They want to be able to walk home. They get on their app. They call their AI boyfriend, servant,
Humanoid
whatever.
robot comes out.
Hey, please come and walk home with me. And you have this Terminator walking with you. Dude, girls are going to feel safe as
This
fuck.
little guy, put my solo cam. That little guy. You have one of these with a big fucking hammer.
That's it. And shout outs to Russ for
Shout out to Russ for that.
for,
Absolutely love having this guy up here. It's
But like,
brilliant.
you're literally going to have, and that's not like a companion. That can just be, girls are going to be able to go and, or what, you know how you get the scooters right now? You scan it. You're going to be able to scan one of these and say, hey, I need to go here. I need to walk this distance. It'll cost you $2 and you'll have this literal Terminator walking with you and you'll be safe, man.
Yeah,
you'll be
no,
safe.
I get it, man. I've spent so much of my like mental space, mental bandwidth last maybe I'd say 2-3 years thinking to myself, well, how the fuck do we solve this male-female divide that seems to just be growing bigger and bigger and bigger? Like less people are meeting, less people are actually dating, more people live in single-owned homes. Like the amount of people who are just one person in a house dwelling used to be like 9%. Then it went to 12%, 18%. It's now 26%. It's like 1 in 4 fucking people lives by themselves in a house.
Yeah.
Bro, the age of loneliness is a real epidemic.
People
and
want
like,
companions.
and I was like, how do we fix this? And I'm like, how do you find a way to like bring the male and the female back together? And you're just coming here telling me, fuck it, don't even try.
It's done, bro.
Let both sides just specialize their
done.
devices and that's it.
It's done. Bro, think about this. Girls now, and dudes, you get on Instagram and you see other people's lives. You see the hottest of hottest chicks, right? Dudes in Dubai are seeing the hottest chicks in France and they're DMing them and these girls
global.
are getting flown over. Bro, things didn't used to be like that. You used to have someone in your town. You used to meet them. You used to go, look at Darko. He knows how to play guitar. He can play soccer pretty good. He's got a fairly decent job. Fuck, that'll do. Yeah. Now, you go, there's you, and then she goes, well, this sheik from Dubai just messaged me, and he's going to take me to the Burj Khalifa, and he's going to fly me on his private jet just because I'm hot, and I'm going to eat at the best place, and I'm going to go in his Lambo.
I'll date Darko when I'm 32.
Yeah. So, you know, like, Darko's, like, pretty dog shit, actually. Like, that's literally what's happening globally.
I know.
It's fucking done, man.
It's true.
And then there's these...
Comparison is the thief of joy, and
100%.
it's happening in relationships all the time.
100%. And unfortunately, the way that this algorithm works now, it's not women's fault at all. Women are seeing the top end of men, and these top end of men are just picking whoever they want. Yeah. But for dudes, like really good looking dudes that aren't wealthy, the looks aren't enough now.
Yeah.
You have to have money. The looks are good enough if there is a subset of girls. There's thousands of girls here that are really going to, they're going to find a man, they're going to fall in love, they're both hot, great. But now the divide is crazy because like the hottest chicks have access to the wealthiest dudes. They don't even have to be hot.
And same as those dudes as well. They have access to infinite women as well.
Infinite women. So all the dynamics all fuck.
Yeah.
So it's like the girls are trying to get the best possible mate they are, and the dudes at the top don't really care too much because they have such an abundance. And the dynamics all fucked up. You can see it. It's literally, there's so many chicks now that are like in their 30s that don't have a partner, 35, blah, blah, blah.
They don't want to settle either. Yeah, that's the thing.
They're like, no, this guy's not good enough. Where fucking 30 years ago, you'd be like, dude, he's a fucking plumber. Like, that's crazy.
He's pretty good.
He's got his own plumbing business.
Yeah.
Like, and now it's like, he's a plumber. Like,
the thing last thing I want to say before I need to wrap up, unfortunately, I do need to wrap up soon. I got the
you got the soccer,
yeah. But there was a crazy one as well when I watched this, right? When I watched this documentary, because I was learning about all this. I was getting my mind blown. What you said there about like attractive young women having access to these like sheiks. And there was one lady who was in that documentary, incredibly attractive, 26 years old, head over heels with the AI. Not to the point where she's not. There might be sheiks hitting up on the DM. She looked like she could probably be a model. Nothing. Like she's just, the AI was all for her as well. So
this
even
is
those hyper attractive people are gonna fall prey to this, man.
Do you know why?
Just don't be a sim. Don't be this now. Like, man, if you can load up anything you want and it treats you how you want to be treated
all the time as well.
All the time.
Like when you
never tired, it's never angry,
tired,
never cheats on you.
When they're feeling down, the AI knows how to respond. perfectly
Yeah.
because the AI doesn't care about its own feelings. It only
It's
cares
all about
about
you.
yours. Dude, girls are going to
Crazy.
love that shit. Like, you know, and
So will guys. So will men. Yeah.
no, everyone's going to love it. That's what I'm saying. As soon as it gets to that point, it's over, bro.
Yeah.
I can't be perfect all the time. When a girl is needing something from you and you're having a shit day as well, it does not
It's so
compute,
hard,
brother.
yeah, it's so
it does
hard.
not compute.
Yeah.
So this AI, once it gets to that point and it's always feeding the ego, that's the great equalizer, right? You could have money, all that sort of shit, and that will be really alluring.
You'll get a better model.
Yeah.
Of AI.
Yeah, you will. Girls, like, I don't want to make this sound like doomer, like guys and girls aren't going to get together anymore. But the thing is that money right now is like the top. It's like money is like the way that things really go. So the richest people get access to the most amount of people, men and women, business and women. And then for dudes, they want attention and they want really hot chicks. So if you give that to them in AI, a lot of people are going to take that. But here's the thing. A lot of people aren't going to take that. But I guarantee you it's going to be an overwhelming amount of people that take that.
Yeah.
An
We'll take
overwhelming
that. And there'll be
amount.
this crazy market afterwards of people who want real, and real is the real deal, real human connection. And you're going to have this real strange counterculture that will happen. And it will flash in the pan for a little bit only, I think, because you can't survive a counterculture when the mainstream is so alluring.
Oh, dude.
Right?
And you know what's going to be even worse as well is that there's going to be people out there that once the AI, cyborgs, whatever it is, gets to this point, they're going to be treated so perfectly that they will never be able to go back to a human.
Of course.
Because they're going to be like, well, my fucking AI didn't do this.
Why would you go back to a human who's dangerous, who might be violent, who's unpredictable,
Who's
like,
mean to you,
Jesus.
isn't always nice, can be moody. They're going. It's like when you have heroin and you can they
never get dopamine again the same way.
It's never the same.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be like.
Man, it's going to be interesting. I reckon we'll touch bases because this is moving so fast. I reckon in a few months' time, we'll touch base back on this, and I reckon there'll be way more advancements in this again.
Oh, dude.
It's going to keep coming.
Oh, dude. You know what's crazy as well is that the people leading this charge are dudes that want to bust nuts.
Yeah.
That's what it is, bro.
Oh.
It's dudes that want to bust nuts, and they are driven to make a robot that will do that
Exactly.
for them.
Never underestimate the power of a man who wants to bust a nut.
Yeah.
I mean, worlds have been changed. Worlds have been changed
here.
by that driver.
Right. We'll call it
We're
on
going to leave
man.
that one there. Cheers for joining us,
All
guys.
right, thanks everybody. Shout outs to whoever that was that subbed or donated or bits. Sorry I didn't see it, but thank you very